With that, Steve Arment, take it away.
I see. Yeah, Cheryl said she wanted me to give a lecture, and I thought, well, I should probably think of something to talk about. I don't know really much about circuses, but I'm going to talk about it and some other things. And as of now, I have business cards. I've been to Rochelle's in Enterprise and told her what I wanted, and she said, no, it was a bad idea. So she made it cheap, which is, I'm sure, much better.
Were they going to be of wood or something?
No, no, she just didn't like the font, she didn't like the layout, she didn't like what I was saying.
She
Just said,
carefully guided you.
oh, she did, oh, there was no careful guiding, she just told me what I was going to get. $2.50 later.
How many did you get?
50, I think.
Oh, that's not it.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot, but no, so I just, one of the things I want to talk about that I have given some thought to was the idea of a circus. And a circus is from the Latin, it just literally means within a circle, and which this one isn't. But it certainly could be. But it was when Cheryl approached me to build a circus, and I tend to build things out of wood, so this is Cheryl's idea, you can blame her. And then I thought, well, you know, you could build a circus out of just about anything. So I got to thinking what you could build a circus out of, and I thought, I was thinking only about the letter P, and I was thinking, well, you could do a possum circus. You could do an entire circus out of pasta, imagine, with those exotic sauces and, you know, pieces, bow ties, I mean big ones, you know. You could imagine a play area of woven fettuccine. You could do anything. And then what I liked the idea of was a pastry space. Oh, giant crusts, you know, some delicate, some like iron with exotic fruits. You could do just about anything, really. And then I thought, has anyone ever thought about a circus and how they would answer Cheryl's question of, build a circus, and what would it look like? Ted, what would your circus look like?
Big dancing girls.
Dancing girls? I suspect you're right. Would you build a music circus, Mike?
Sure.
Yeah, imagine a music circus. You could have a soundboard with one giant string.
Traveling troubadours.
Yeah, you could do
Ringing circles.
Yeah, circles, and you know, a circus of drums and a circus of things to blow on, and you know, wouldn't that be wild? Cheryl, your circus?
Oh, well, animals for sure.
Animals?
Yeah.
You're a traditionalist.
Well, not animals like the Barnum and Bailey. You know, the ringmasters should probably be animals, and maybe the performers should be humans.
I see.
Yeah. Maybe kind of turn it around a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Mike?
Well, I immediately think of a planetary circus.
Ah.
You can have all the planets.
I love that idea.
Go inside them and see what's what.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
have
that'd
the
be
Greek
fun.
gods and everybody there.
Wouldn't that be fun to wander around in? Anyone else have a...
You guys are scared.
I heard you'd be very scared. Anyone else have an idea what Rich?
Well, I think of Cirque du Soleil and think of the spinning, jiving, the trapezes and the tight ropes and those the volandas. That's what I think of, the volandas. Yeah.
Yeah, no, cool stuff. I was imagining Joello's circus, which would be images of birds and nests and things written out, and yeah. But you know, it's easy enough to imagine filling the room with giant interactive vegetables. Yeah.
Get your whole career cut out for you here.
Oh no, no. But we're always open to suggestions.
So back to peas, you could have a parrot circus.
A parrot circus?
That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't that? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and think about sideshows.
Feed them peas and pasta.
The three-headed man and the,
Yeah, oh, yeah, and it was good to do this, I thought, at the Josephy Center, where it's always a circus.
This is true.
One of the other things, I was also mentioning what a travel circus would be, which I think, that would take some thought. One of the things I wanted to talk about was sort of what I do, as I haven't exactly done the traditional art direction where you go, where you're trying to get into shows and galleries and trying to do, putting together a portfolio and doing the traditional direction, or what's traditional for some folks. I've, for the last whole bunch of years, I've tried to think of myself as a community artist, where I not only do things that amuse me, but also the Welcome to Enterprise sign. We just yesterday got up the Welcome to Allow sign, and I hate to think how many T-shirts and packing crates and coffee shops, bars, restaurants, lumber yards, anything, screen doors, anything that is part of the community is sort of fair game. I think rather it's a hard road for people to only think about being an artist as becoming popular enough to sell on whatever level, but becoming part of the community, it gives, you feel like you don't have to get all puffed up about things, but you're still part of something. You're part of just about everything. And I thought, how cool is that? I've helped restore outhouses, and there's a love. What?
Ox carts.
Ox carts. I was just thinking about the two-holer down at Horse Creek. And so you get called up and you think about it, and pretty soon you're out there with a chainsaw or whatever it takes. So I think the model of a community artist is something that young artists especially should consider, and I think it'd be worth somebody writing about. As far as, as a career model for a lot of folks in especially smaller communities, or being part of a bigger community. If you had a group that did that in Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, they would always have work and always be, connected, and I see a lot of virtue in that. And I'm sure I'm not the first person to think about it, but it does sort of work after a fashion. Yes, Mike?
Well, this is thought of as a town of bronze, but I'll bet you've got 10 times more wood in this town than the other sculptors have bronze.
I bet I do.
When I first stepped in here, I didn't make the opening because I wasn't quite up to it, and I understand that was packed. But I came in the next day and I took a look at it. And my expectation, of course, was whimsy. My expectation was playfulness. What I didn't expect to see was the sophistication that has come to this room in your art. So you don't need to say anything about all the other attributes. You are a sophisticated, knowledgeable artist.
I love praise like that. I really do.
At $50,
Yeah. After the show, after the election. Yeah, and I thought about things, that I should. I will talk about the show in a bit, but
Steve?
What?
I want to change my circus thing. Can I change it to pies?
Pies?
A pie circus.
A pie circus?
You should build these beautiful pies and take them to all the pie contests.
Yeah.
And put them in your cart, a traveling circus.
Yeah. Pie circus.
I bet you could do some great ones.
Oh, you could. Have you ever seen crust sculptures that people do? with interactive, you know, there's birds and trees and there's things that are.
Sounds great.
Yeah, yeah, my daughter showed me pictures of exotic crusts.
Crust, my crust, my crust.
Yeah, I'd say it. When I was about 18, I helped the neighbor girl make a birthday cake for my cousin. It was made out of potato salad. It was shaped like a '57 Chevy. So a person can, you know, medium is a vague term at best. Yeah, think about what is art. You know, Andy Warhol said, art is anything you get away with. And Bertolt Brecht once said, art is not a mirror held up to reality. It's a hammer shaped of it, or a mallet in this case. Tom Robbins said, the purpose of art is to provide what life is not. And that took some thinking, and I still haven't sorted it out. But yeah, what is art? What isn't art? Some things you look at and say, what are they? So, I don't know. But I'm hoping that what this does is make people think about possibilities, I guess. Not just, you know, lineal. Cheryl was thinking that there was plenty of rectangles.
That's right.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the show, sort of the imagery. I was just noticing the fish jumping through the hoop, because most of this was an idea, but of course I've never seen it until it was here. Because I really wasn't going to tie a fish to the ceiling and spread. But I love the movement. And there's just some things that I tried. The wing with the hubcaps is a form I've always liked, and I thought it was sort of iconic. And I didn't really understand it, but I still like it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I would still build it again, you know. Yeah. And some things, I had the pig nose. One made me ask, did you really sit down and whittle a pig nose for this? And I didn't, actually. The pig nose was a project I started a bunch of years ago. There was a pig collector in Spokane who I once made the world's largest pig pull toy. It was on little wheels and you pulled the string and it played around. It was about this tall.
But it fell on.
And he commissioned me to build a pig car that he could have in parades. And then he died.
Oh, no.
And half of the pig car was reconfigured into the race car for the wild carrot. But I still had this pig nose on the wall. So I thought, well, got to do something with that. So I thought, oh, I'll just make a little toss game. And then I made wooden rings and the little sign. And the title of that piece I had was American Style Headboard. Which if you think about it for a minute, yeah, I like the idea of, and some ideas I just like the idea of a bird made out of lettuce and the idea of dreams. And I like the idea that you could pivot that piece any direction, because dreams are elusive. You may have all noticed. Yeah, most of these things were just a small shape that inspired me to do something. The tree I did because I've been building a lot of trees in the last few years, and I thought, well, I'm practiced up, it's time to build another tree. So, I suspect we'll have a home for that. And there's, yeah, a few old favorites, the chicken bench, the airplane. The airplane was inspired by part of a kid's toy I saw years ago. It was made out of a sewing machine. And I thought, what could you do with a sewing machine? Yeah. The owl? Oh, yeah. Owls are cool. we had one at home, in fact. The owl, my daughter called me last few weeks before Christmas and said, "Can you send me a snowy owl?" And I said, "Why?" She said, "Oh, I want to give one to my husband." So I just said, "Okay, I'll chop out an owl. I'll pop it in the mail." And I liked it, so I made a few more. Yeah, some things. What?
Harry Potter owl.
A Harry Potter owl. A person should always have a few Harry Potter owls.
The beautiful arch on the doorway, is that spoken for? Do you have a place in mind for that?
I have a place in mind. We'll see if that comes through or not. I have several places in mind, actually, but I think it looks so good there.
Yeah.
Cheryl should just write the check.
Steve, when did you become interested in carving wood?
Oh, when I was 17. Yeah, I carved something or another trying to impress a girl. Failed miserably, of course, but I got that carved. I really did. Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, please feel free to interrupt. 'Cause
So when you, the elephant in the tutu there, did you start with the gears and then decide what you were going to do with that crazy gear, or did you start?
No. That was Cheryl saying, "I don't care what you build as long as something's wearing a tutu."
Could have been Rich.
I think I wanted animals in tutus.
So then you had to go out and find the gears, or you?
Yeah, I found a great gear, but I couldn't figure it out. And I got that one for $1 down at Backacres in Malawi. And that's a Korean War Army issue window shade cutter. But it works pretty slick, really.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That Back Acres is a great place.
You never know what you're going to see around.
Yeah. What was the idea behind the bird watcher training device?
Oh, my wife and several friends are avid bird watchers.
And you?
I do watch them, yes. But the idea of, when we were down in the deserts last spring, there was this group of folks that leapt out of their car and just started pointing at birds and checking them on the list or putting them on a list or something. They weren't actually watching the birds. They weren't even close. So I thought, these people just need training. Actually, have to sit and focus on the whole thing. And plus, I wanted to kind of poking fun at a few folks, and giving Kendrick something to stew about.
So the lenses actually are almost cross-eyed.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
It's true. Yes, Ted.
Well, Steve, I just wanted to kind of inform you, Sharon and I have been married 55 years.
Well, congratulations.
Well, it'll be in September. I'm not sure because I bought your crow.
Yeah.
I had big plans to hang it in the house. And
Yeah.
So I'm having a little trouble. Could you encourage her?
I
Told you I found a place.
Oh. On that note, though, Ted, I do have to tell you my walrus head story. In my little house in town, a lot of you've been there was a walrus head hanging in the kitchen. And Gina Mac brought a friend of hers by from Baker City. And they were admiring the walrus head, and this woman says, "Can you build me a walrus head?" And I said, "Certainly." So I built her a walrus head and got it over to her, where she came and got it, I don't remember. And a week later, Jeannie Mac mentions that her and her husband were getting a divorce. And it was because she loved the walrus head. He wouldn't let her out of the house.
So this isn't looking good, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Steve knows I'm a fan of this.
Yeah, but this fellow, there was, I was told that there was other issues, but I saw that woman, a year ago maybe, or less, and I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry about the walrus head." And she says, "Yeah," she says, "but it's all worked out for the best. I have a new husband, crazy about walrus heads."
Steve,
Yeah,
do you remember the printer stand that you brought to work for me?
printer stand.
Yeah. You saw me fussing around in there. You said, you need a stand for that printer because it was, you know, had it on the floor or something.
Yeah?
So he goes out and brings two, you were working with us at the time there at the Forest Service.
Yeah?
And he goes out and he brings back this printer stand. There's a couple of very plain boards, but it's very carefully dovetailed together.
Model 8 on it.
Dovetailed.
And over the top of the painting, it said, "Another cheap souvenir."
And that could be a circus.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah.
have a question for you.
Okay, Ted.
I also really like the little kingfisher.
Oh, I like them.
I do too. Well, I see you carve a lot of them.
I do.
Tell me about it.
Well, kingfishers just
Tell
have
me
so much.
about what psychologically went wrong with us.
Kingfishers just have so much personality.
Yes.
They have a lot more than a lot of birds. There's a lot of birds that you just can't really relate to. But a kingfisher, all of a sudden you realize that you're probably related somehow. Yeah, it's definitely a different interaction with some birds and some animals. They're just, I've done kingfishers with eyeglasses and with funny hats, and I've done kingfishers with two heads and kingfishers with all sorts of things. So it's just because I have so much personality.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Steve,
But, yeah.
can I ask you about process?
Process.
Yes. And I'm thinking of, you certainly, I have always wanted to visit your mind. With a return ticket. But I envision that if you're working with wood, if you're working with a media, you've got to have some idea of the end product. But on the other hand, I know that they sort of take over and certain things pop up and pop in.
Oh, it's true.
How much is ahead of time and how much is in process?
In some ways, it's gotten to be less of the the process and more of what I had envisioned, just because I've been doing it for so long. But as far as what I end up with and how I relate to it and how other people relate to it, has definitely become more open and more unlikely. Because I'll see something and will be that direction. Those little things you change, and that's what makes a difference. It really is. And I don't know if it's wood carving or any. What you realize too is that all creative mediums and things are pretty similar. Whether it's music or whether it's dance or photography or anything, writing, there's just a lot of similarities. A lot of 2- and 3-dimensional artists tend to be musicians. A lot of them, because it's sort of the same part of the brain. And it's, it doesn't matter whether it's, cooking or whether it's, making shoes. I met some folks that have retired from Nike. He was a shoe designer. And he has spent the last 10 years of his life or more putting together a puppet theater, all out of his leather and forms and wild. It's sort of endless. And mostly, what I deal with is a creative process. And when I've talked to school groups, when I used to do talks at colleges and museums and things, mostly I'd stand up and make fun of people, but I also try to convey the idea that don't necessarily be limited to what you've seen, and always try to think about combinations of other disciplines, because they're all the same in a way. So if you could build a teeter-totter with built-in snack trays and then do a little baking, there should be, you know, options. Yeah. Think about a sculpture and think about, well, could there some way we could play it? You know, could we, you know, strum it or blow in it or whatever, you know, do something. Because that starts, then you're starting to think out of the box. And if you're dealing with two-dimensional objects, think about, well, I'm painting in 2 dimensions, but what I paint on, does it have to be 2 dimensions? Or can the frames be interactive? Can the frames be edible? Can the frames, I mean, think about possibilities. Just sort of being open to the creative process. And think about the things that are amusing that you interact with, like we've done in the shops and stores and things around here. Think about Gypsy Java. Think about you know, Red Horse and Lumberyard. You know, where you're building something in there that is going to confuse some folks and amuse the rest, I guess, is how you want to put it. Everyone here that I look at, that I know, deals with creativity in, you know, in their own way. And I expect that's why you're here. I was thinking about that lovely Vienna portrait the other day. That's creativity. That was really good. And Ed, your sculpture, your, you know, a lot of things you deal with, writings. Cheryl, you deal with people in ways that, that you get away with. So, I guess mostly just enjoy the process and always be thinking. Yes.
How long ago did Cheryl approach you?
Oh, it's been a couple of years ago, but I ignored her for quite a while.
Are you ignoring she?
Yeah, she is.
Steve, I have one of your greatest quotes that you gave years ago, and it's really changed my life.
Really?
Yes. I always laugh about it, and I've used it over and over, and I attribute it to I asked you one time about something about planning, and you said, Ted, I have the organizational skills of a hamster in a cage.
Yes. Yeah, have you ever seen them where they pat it on with their hind claws? Yeah, that's pretty much, my wife will agree, that's pretty much.
I thought that was really...
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Steve, is your private collection still growing, or is that?
It is, I'm afraid, yes.
So we might be thinking about another showing event sometime, Joe.
Really? Cool. That's a lot less work for me. Yeah.
Just let us know when you're gonna paint your house, like the interior, and then we'll do it. Isn't that what you did last time?
Yeah. Yes.
Cheryl, what made you come up with the idea of a circus, and what made you approach Steve for this?
So, that's a good question, because I think they announced that they were shutting down Barnum and Bailey Circus, and I kind of thought about, we had a local, or a Portland circus troupe that had come through, and they were juggling, and I figured that the future generation may only know the circus as Cirque du Soleil, and the whole idea of the circus was kind of dying, and that in some way we could revive it for younger kids to see what the circus was all about and how animals were part of it. And even though there's some controversy behind animals, the good thing is all of these are made of wood. So there's no controversy. Yeah, so, but that was kind of the thing that got me going. And the other was that I told Steve I wanted to do an exhibit that every exhibit we do, we have the panels up and they're just squares everywhere, and the space is so great that you could really do things more vertical. And so I I think Steve's taken advantage of things that are taller, and there's nothing that's rectangular except for maybe the door frame. So I think he checked off all the goals that I had, so. Yeah, and,
Steve?
and the best part is that the circus makes everybody happy. They
Yeah.
love the circus, and people, they come in here, they're kind of serious, and then they just, light up. So I do think that the circus is, and people have memories of the circus like nobody's business. I mean, everybody who's been to the circus has a recollection of it and a fond memory of it, or maybe a bad memory, I don't know. But most of the
They
time,
can be
it's
scary.
enjoyable.
Circuses are a little dark.
Yes, they can be both.
Yeah, that's why we did, the fortune teller. We wanted it to be mysterious. We wanted that dark. Yeah. Rich.
There was, by the way, a family of kids here, and the sister was sitting back there telling fortunes to the brothers. She was about 8. But when Cheryl mentioned that, striking up one of the memories of circuses and the concept of circus, I got infatuated with the whole Romany thing and the gypsy thing.
Oh, yeah.
And my, actually, after I moved here, because Grace Bartlett, believe it or not, also, we had a shared fascination, and we would toss books back and forth and stuff about it. But, and also I spent the time in Turkey in the Balkans. The circus is like pro football. It's like, I mean, it's not a marginal thing. It's like a major career for major athletes and major people, which is totally different from us. But then going to and of course, in my time there, I met a lot of different gypsies from different backgrounds. But going way back when I was a kid in Minnesota, when the fair came, they brought a small circus, and there were gypsies with the circus, and we would go and pack water and get tickets on rides from the gypsies.
Cool.
They had their little shell games and all that and everything. So the circuses that traveled around with small county fairs also spread the gypsy, movement across the United States. So it's a pretty cool little migratory thing, nature of circuses too. Not just the big Barnum and Bailey, but all the little circuses that
And I want you to know that I've already approached Steve about doing another exhibit of the Wallowa County Safari. And he, of course, gave me the same reaction that he did when I first approached him about the circus, like, yeah, right, Cheryl. I thought he could carve a wooden car, and we could have a little road, and people would do like the Flintstone car, and they could get in and use their feet, and they could kind of drive through the gallery, and you could have different things going on.
I think that would be even more of a stretch to look at those pieces.
Well, it sounds fun to me, so, and totally doable in Steve's abilities.
You built a carousel years ago.
Yes, I've actually ended up building several carousels.
Really?
Yeah.
I wondered if you still had it or.
No, that was sold to a family in Los Gatos, California.
Oh.
And they had 3 daughters, 4 daughters, and I went down and taught workshops, and all the family all carved a new set of animals for that carousel.
Huh.
And
Wow.
it was put on a mountaintop on a platform, so when it swung out, you were in midair.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. And then I worked for the Denzel Carousel Company for a while, and we did a carousel for the Tennessee State Bicentennial. We did one for some organization in Southern California. We did one for, I don't remember what all we did. I carved mountain animals. And we also, on classes, we carved a huge wildlife carousel in Soldotna, Alaska. Yeah. That was
Carousel, what were the animals in the carousel? They were not ordinary carousel.
the one that you saw here. They were all local wildlife. There was a deer and an elk and a bighorn and a mountain goat and an antelope. Those sorts of things. Yeah. No, carousel I've always enjoyed. carousel. And, yeah, I taught for years and built and worked commercially with carousels, and once in a while I'll think about a carousel animal I would really like to build. Well, I certainly could, but how am I going to sell it?
Can you talk about the piece, because you did that with the student?
Yeah, with Leah. She was going off to some place, and she said that she wanted to build a carousel. And I said, well, when are you leaving? And she says, tomorrow. And I said, okay. So I set her down on the floor, she drew the picture, and 24 hours later, we had a carousel.
Wow.
Which one is it?
That one, that
Because that
envelope thing
whole
with the
event.
points. She, yeah, that wasn't the paint job it had then. She redid the paint job years later. But that, I think, was the fastest carousel animal we ever built.
How big were the carousels?
There were different sizes. The one I produced of county animals was, I think, 15 feet across, 14 feet across.
How about the one that went to Los Gatos?
That's the one that went to Los Gatos.
Oh.
The biggest one, well, the biggest one I ever saw that we did was the one in Soldotna. And I think it was 25 feet across, 24 feet. The one for the Tennessee bicentennial was probably almost 20 feet. And that one was a paddle-powered carousel. It was made, oddly enough, it was made so the person sat a ways away from the carousel and you could pedal it. It had all kinds of gearing. And most carousels run about 6 or 7 revolutions per minute. And this one was made so you could pedal the carousel while playing the accordion.
Not that many peddlers then.
So, you know, that's what we did. It's been a lot of fun. Heidi, what would your carousel look like?
Well, I was thinking, oh, my carousel.
Or your, no, what would your
No, my
circus look?
circus,
What
I
would
was
your
thinking-
circus look? Excuse me.
I would like to have trained birds and cats,
Oh, cool.
so that they could, like, we'd have to train them seriously to get them to work together.
Right.
But it would be a lot of fun.
And you
You
can
know?
make one of them Democrats and the other Republicans.
Oh dear, that would be bad. There's a,
My idea for a show, which may actually make me some money, is one of these years doing a Steve Arment Christmas, where we have the place full of unlikely objects, and we decorate it in even more over-the-top unlikely Christmas fashion. I think you could advertise that regionally, and people would show up and be confused.
Great.
Yeah, Mike.
Steve, something that's parked in my memory from many, many years ago is the wonderful Ernie Kovacs routine. That was the Nairobi Trio.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember the Nairobi
Yells to
Trio.
be carved. Shouts out to be carved.
I don't live in
You
Paris.
remember Steve Kovac?
Right,
Ernie Kovac?
Ernie Kovac.
Yeah.
Who doesn't remember it? I'm aging myself. It was basically 3 gorillas
Yeah.
in a combo, and
They end up beating on each other.
they end up beating on each other. The music would go on, and then the drummer would go, and then the guy would look at him like this, and they would turn their heads back. It was very animated.
Great.
Do you do all the painting of everything?
I did most all of this. Anna Vogel did the background on part of the clock and the face on the fortune-telling booth, and kind of helped here and there. But yeah, I did most all of
Did you
it.
blow the glass?
No, Russell Ford blew the glass. And it's probably, Russell Ford's pretty much out of the glass business now. He's retired, so I was fortunate to get it. Yeah, and then I filled them with lead.
So you don't want to get hit with it?
No, no. Yeah, it's all Hey, Doug. Yeah,
Have you ever done insects?
oh, yes. Anybody remember the giant ceiling beetle we made for the art angle? Yeah. No, insects are great. You could do a giant insect circus. Yeah, with boxing mosquitoes and things. Yeah, dragonflies, butterflies, and praying mantis. Oh, and you could have them do interactive. That actually would lend itself real well, an insect circus. Like a flea circus, I guess. Their circus would work. Yeah, oh my God, fleas. Why not? Yeah, are there any more comments or criticisms?
What's with feet?
What?
The very first thing I ever saw that you did was a side table with elk feet.
Yeah?
And the whimsy of the feet especially really struck me, and I thought, I gotta have something with feet. And that's a fantastic idea. So what was it about feet that you said, okay, this is the part that really has, I mean, there's a section of that that's just, you know, a spindle, but.
But then it isn't. Yeah, my background is largely in carving Victorian furniture and even earlier. And a lot of European and American furniture that used a lot of feet. They're ball and claw, there's a lot of hoof feet. On the Isle of Man, they're known for furniture carved with lace-up Oxfords, which are really attractive. And the person can just start taking that different directions. So that's, you know, that's what I've done.
Clawfoot tub.
The what?
The clawfoot tub.
The clawfoot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, and clawfoot tubs, they make some people nervous because they imagine them dropping off. And a lot of furniture makes people nervous if it can have feet or it can have faces. But if it has feet and faces, then it's out to get them. Yeah.
About half of these things.
Yeah, feet. Yeah, some of them have wings, some of them have tusks and beaks, and yeah. So Doug, if you were going to build a circus, what would it look like? That's what we've been talking about. Would it be full of doctor stuff?
No. Nordic stuff.
Nordic stuff.
Oh.
Cool. I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I get enough doctor stuff to work.
So, I'm interested in any more input anyone might have, but I'm starting to run out of steam.
Okay, I have this question.
Yeah.
You said you began carving when you carved something to impress a girl
Yeah.
when you were 17. Did you work in wood before that? Or did you
No, but my dad did and my grandfather did a
Okay.
little bit. Yeah. So I was around sawdust.
So you kind of inherited the interest.
Yeah, yeah, and I took a shop class in high school and quickly thrown out.
They weren't ready for.
They weren't ready for me yet. Heidi.
Well, I had an uncle who came over from Germany when he was young, and as he got older, he liked to carve a lot of things. And he got linden wood.
Oh,
Which I
yeah.
think is what we call the ash tree, I'm not sure.
No, linden is what we would call basswood in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it occurred to me, we haven't talked about what you like to carve. What
Oh,
type of wood?
oh, yeah. At this point, I've carved just about everything. There's some things I like. Most of this, a lot of this is pine because it carves quick. Some of it's made out of harder material. There's, you know, like airplane wings made out of maple, so they hold up. The goat is made out of English willow, which a lot of people have in their yards. And there's bits of walnut in the things where we needed hardness. There's all sorts of things. There's a lot of wood that's beautiful but I don't carve it a lot because it's hard and it's slow going, and I generally need to get things done very quickly. That's sort of how I do things. I remember having to carve a carousel goat out of elm one time, and the fellow that surfaced the lumber for me said, "I don't know what that is," he said, "but it's harder than the back of God's head."
So do you carve by hand or with?
You know, anymore, I mostly use carving tool, electrical things. For years, all I used was hand tools. And I'm fast. I carved, I keep up with a lot of people with chainsaws. But after a while, your wrists swell up, you get cramps, and it actually is faster for me now to carve. The workshop I'm doing is all going to be hand tools. You hurt yourself slower.
It's safer.
Yes.
So how was it that you, on this balanced the girl?
This one actually doesn't, it will balance because the piece is sold and I'll make it balance. But what I discovered when I put this together,
Yeah.
and it's a fine line, is the top of her weighs too much, okay? In order to, because you set this way to get it to balance, and then you move it this way to get it to balance this way. And it works. It works. You can hold it in the palm of your hand and walk around. But what I'm going to do is I'll just hollow this out so there's no top weight. And that'll make it balance perfectly. This is held together by a nail.
Yeah, I was wondering what held her on there.
When she balances,
And that's-
nothing will hold her. She'll just balance. I was hoping
So
to
you
have
can
it.
just pick her up?
You can just pick her up. What I built, you see the point of the teeter-totter in the
Yeah.
middle? That point was there because I could move her to the center of the teeter-totter and hit it to the teeter-totter, and she would balance the entire time.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but we ran out of, because Russell didn't give me the glass till the day before the show. And all this stuff. So, my hope for the show, and I just didn't remember until I was coming up here, that I was going to have photocopies made of a wonderful rhubarb barbecue sauce recipe. So I would give it to everyone out here so they would actually leave us something useful.
I will mention that we are creating a book, and the book should be printed before the end of the exhibit. And it's kind of about Steve and the exhibit and a bunch of nothing, but a bunch of everything.
Maybe we can put the recipe in there.
And I don't know how much it's going to be. I'm assuming it's around $20, the book.
Okay.
But if anybody's interested,
Do you have a sign-up
with the
sheet?
book, I'll make a sign-up sheet and people can, write down that they want the book and.
And I also have business cards for people. Large and small unlikely objects.
And there's more coffee and tea and a couple of cookies left.
Oh, yeah, I had part of one of those blueberry muffins, so, yeah, they're good. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee.